Welcome to another Andy Forge video. This is our 11th deck of the Winds of Exchange display. There isn't any huge news. The Ghost Galaxy team announced that OP is being delayed. They were going to have registration up this month, but something happened with the software or something. So in January they're going to delay it. They're going to set up registration for Store Championships still in March. So a little disappointed by that. But other than that, it sounds like the Grim Reminders stuff is on the way. And honestly, as long as these OP kits are good and can help revitalize this game, that is all I really care about. But let's just go ahead and dig into this. We had a banger of a deck last week. Hopefully we can keep up that same energy with this week's deck. It seemed like we got some middling sass early on in the display, but now we are rocking out with a much higher sass. You might have seen a peek there. We've got a orange Archon. The deck's name is Dr. Aqualung Woodard? Okay, Dr. Aqualung Woodard. Interesting. All made up words. Doctor, but with a K. Our token creature is Trader. Very, very good token. I believe we had one not too long ago, or maybe I had opened one in my free time, but very good Equidon. So of course, Equidon is our house there. Then we got Mars and Starlines. Okay, not bad. Hoping for maybe some Ganymede outposts from Starlines. Starlines can be pretty good this set, as long as you get the right cards. Mars is exciting, and we'll see what our Equidon holds. This will be a fun deck. I will be right back with the card reveal. We are back. Here's a closer look at the Archon. Looks super cool, very insecty. It looks a lot like one of maybe the buggy kind of artifacts. That's the vibe it's giving from that one special card. I'll flash the card and the 3 buggies on the screen, but very fitting, especially the color for a Equidon token deck. So we'll see what we've got in here. Set to the side our deck list. And then, of course, our token creature, which is Trader, the 1 power token creature with action Steal 1 and Destroy Trader. Very, very good, especially if you can ward it. Alrighty, and we're starting in Star Alliance here with the upgrade Uplink. It's got an Amber Pip on it. And it reads, this creature gains action, make a token creature for each of this creature's non-Star Alliance neighbors. Very good to place on Star Alliance creatures. Is that what I'm thinking? There's a way to attach it that's very good. Yeah, probably attaching it to Star Alliance creatures, especially if you have anything that has deploy. So then we have the creature Secura Droid, 4 power creature with Taunt. Secura Droid may be played as an upgrade instead of a creature with the text, this creature gains Taunt. I've said it before in some of my other videos, but Secura Droid actually, as long as you get like maybe 1 or 2, is pretty good. Taunt is in a premium in Winds of Exchange. So, yeah, and just 1. Oh, fantastic. One of my favorite token making cards. We've got Scout Chief Corgier, 2 power creature, enhanced with a draw pip that reads play, make a token creature, and then after fight, after reap, make a token creature. Oh, Rogue Operations. Okay, this is one of the best actions out of Star Alliance this set. It's an action that reads play, discard the top 2 cards of your deck, steal 1 amber for each house represented among the discarded cards. If you can get something like a Gruntwork or a couple other cards from this set, you can set up for Rogue Operations super easy. Then we've got Echo Reflector. It's an upgrade with an Amber Pip enhanced with a damage, and it reads this creature gains your opponent's keys cost +3. Very good Amber control. Ooh, CXO Tabor, fantastic. 3 power creature with after fight, after reap. You may play it or use a non-Star Alliance card this turn. Lots of versatility there. Xeno Training, some more decent Amber control. It's an action, it's got an Amber Pip, and reads play. For each house represented among friendly creatures, a friendly creature captures 1. Oh, and then a board wipe here, I believe at least. This is selective preservation. It's an action. Play, choose a creature of each power value. Destroy each creature not chosen. So very hard to get this to go off perfectly, but as long as there is a creature of multiple, if there are multiple power values and there's a specific creature you want dead, you'll be able to get them dead. I also love the way to manipulate it so that, you can play creatures from your hands that have selected power values to make sure that they're the ones that survive as opposed to the other person, or choosing to not play them until later because it would kill more of your creatures if you had played it. Ooh, Gruntwork. This is the one I was just talking about for Rogue Operations. It's an action with an Amber Pip. Play, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, put them back in any order, make a token creature. Very good. Oh, 2 of those. Fantastic. Then we've got Camaraderie. Camaraderie's okay. We don't have a whole lot of Star Alliance creatures, so that might not be great, but it would be great for like a Secura droid. It's an action with an Amber Pip. It reads, play, exhaust a friendly Star Alliance creature. If you do, draw 2 cards for each of its non-Star Alliance neighbors. Can be very good. There aren't very many ready effects in Star Alliance, and having a board that is with that specific setup, especially since you're spamming out like token creatures, it's great in a deck without a Star Alliance token creature. So something like Trader, I can use Gruntwork on my turns to set up traders maybe next to a Secura droid. But it can be really, really hard to get off, especially since you have to have a ready creature just already in play. We got 2 of those. Okay, and then we are into our Mars here, starting with the 3-power creature, Xanthix Harvester. It cannot be used while it has a non-Mars neighbor, and after Reap you gain an additional Amber. Scoop Up, this is a really good action, especially if you can get, what's his name? I can always think about him when I'm not in the middle of a video. Give me one more second. Mimrox the Red. There we go. Okay, I got it. You might have been on the screen for a while. But yes, Mimrox the Red is great in combination with Scoop Up, but it's an action with an Amber Pip. Play, put a friendly non-Mars creature and an enemy non-Mars creature into your archives. If that enemy creature would leave your archives, return it to its owner's hand instead. Oh, then we got Mix the Tall-Minded, one of the best Amber control creatures in all of Winds of Exchange, quite honestly, but definitely the best one in Mars. 5-power creature with your opponent's keys cost +1 for each friendly Mars creature in play. Oh, 2 of those, fantastic. Oh, then we got Ironix Vatminder, 3-power creature with 1 armor, and reads play/destroy to make a token creature. Great token making. 2 of those, fantastic. Okay, our Mars pot is looking really good. Ironix Propaganda, this creature gains after fight after reap, make a token creature with an Amber Pip. I actually really love putting these onto my Vatminders, because if the opponent doesn't destroy the Vatminder, then I'm still making tokens, and often your opponent will try to avoid destroyed effects or archive them, or if they're not trying to destroy them early. So putting something on them that's like more bait for them to get destroyed is good. Here's where some of our enhancements came from. The Glixel Weaponsmith, 4-power 1 armor creature. It enhanced itself with a damage, which is funny, and all it does is enhance 2 damage on a draw onto the deck. Then we've got Brain Dart. It's an action, and it's got an Amber Pip. It reads play, enrage an enemy creature, and it captures 1 from its own side. A very, very good, what am I saying? Very, very good action. Very good Amber control. That's what I was trying to get out. Enraging the creature is great just because it's trying to force them to fight after they've just captured 1 of their own Amber. So at the very least, it'll decrease their power or make them less usable. There's just so much utility here in addition to the 1 Amber that your opponent is basically having stolen. 2. Fantastic. And it also comes with an Amber Pip. It's just very, very good. Happy to see 2 of those. And then we've got Zizok. Happy to see more Mars creatures with those Tall-Mindeds. 3-power with Skirmish and Splash Attack 1. After an enemy creature is destroyed by Zizok's Splash Attack, ready Zizok. Zizok is fantastic in Winds of Exchange. If you can get a deck with Zizok sealed and kind of get Zizok firing really good, or if you can get something like Pyro attached to Zizok, things can get really out of control. I've had more than 1 game of Winds of Exchange with one of my Prospector decks where my opponent nearly wipes my whole board just by fighting Zizok into a high power creature that's sitting next to my line of Prospectors or something. So very, very good creature. Ooh, and then we have Compod. It's our first artifact, I believe. Action, reveal any number of Mars cards from your hand. For each Mars card revealed this way, you may ready a Mars creature. Whoa, that's great if you can get something like Crystal Hive in a deck. Just being able to ready in the first turn is so good, especially with Xanthix Harvester and Zizok's effect. This is awesome. And we have so many actions and things in Mars. That's really good. Oh, I think I talked about the buggy earlier. That's funny. Okay. So we're going to Ekwidon now. We got one of the special rare cards that pulls 3 cards into the deck called, I think it's just Drutyo, or Conductor. Oh goodness. We'll see him in a minute. Conductor Jizroya. I think that's right. We'll see him in a second. But when he's in your deck as one of your rares, you get 3 buggy artifacts, which all combo together really well. I actually put out a short not too long ago talking about one of the easiest combos with Conductor Jizroya. Jizroya, that's what it is. So I'll link that in the description if you're interested. It's not hard to find. It's just one of my YouTube shorts, my Keyforge combos. But this is awesome. Okay, so the first one is the Shuzyoku Buggy. It's an action. Reveal 2 cards from your hand. If they share a house, discard them and make a token creature. Then we've got the Jiznyasi Buggy. Action, lose 1 amber if you do draw 3 cards. So this is, you can already see the combo here because you reveal 2 from your hand to make a token creature. This is lose an amber, and then the last one is destroy friendly creature. You know, you just made a token creature. And if you do, gain 2 amber. So you come out with a net positive amber, net positive of cards, and then whatever other effect. And if I can load up on traders by killing other creatures, it's really good. I don't think there are any ready effects in Ekwidon in this set, other than out-of-house stuff, but if we have a way to ready the Conductor, that would be awesome, just because he readies all of our buggy artifacts. But this is Shigzaiso Buggy. Action, destroy friendly creature if you do gain 2. I've gotten used to the Mars names. After all this time stuck with all these Keyforge cards, you know, you get used to Mars and they throw Ekwidon at you, and it's there's so many accents, there's so much going on. And I'm sure as soon as I get used to Ekwidon, I can say every name perfectly. They're going to throw in some new house, maybe the one from Amber Skies that's going to have crazy names. Got the action Trading Frenzy here. It's got an Amber Pip. Play a friendly creature and enemy creature capture 3 amber from their opponent. Some decent amber control there, nothing too crazy. Visible Hand, one of my favorite token making cards, in addition to Gruntwork and a couple other things. Play, make 2 token creatures, reveal your hand to your opponent. Often you find yourself in a position where revealing your hand doesn't matter too much. Sometimes it can be a big deal, but in all the decks where I've played the Visible Hand, especially in Alliance, I've been in positions where it's like I play the Visible Hand and they see what I have cooking, but often it's a situation where it's like they can't really stop me, you know, where it's like, oh, on one of these turns I'm gonna be able to Abyssal Sight you, and it's like, you know, you could try and get it out of my hand if you have an appropriate card, but otherwise you're just waiting. You know, your cards in your hand are exposed, so to speak. The next card we hear is General Zoroya. General Zaorha, 4 power creature with Skirmish. Play, for each forged key your opponent has, make a token creature. Spoiler warning for Grim Reminders. I'm about to talk about something for just a second. So hop off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. General Zaorha is dead. He came into this set in Ekwidon, and he's passed on. In all of the spoilers for Grim Reminders, they showed the Revenants, which are just key members of each house, brought back as like a specter with a really cool additional effect. General Zaorha has died and become a Revenant. He was around for 1 set, so hopefully his death was valorous, and he did a fantastic in whatever, you know, fight he participated in, assuming, because he's a general. and a soldier, but his effect is really cool. I'll put him on the screen. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it does have to do with forged keys again, and it might be forging a key for free, I believe, and then he purges himself, or it's like unforging an opponent's key, but I'm pretty sure it's if your opponent has more forged keys than you, then forge a key at no cost. You'll see it on the screen, so you'll know for sure. But yeah, he was here and then he was gone. Okay, I'm gonna give one more second for the people skipping for spoilers. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, spoiler people. Next card here is Forced Retirements. An action that says play destroy creature. If you do, its controller gains 1 amber. Very good creature control. Ooh, Belligerent Guard, also one of my favorite forms of creature control. 8 power creature, enters play ready, and it says play, your opponent draws a card. 2 of those, okay, not bad. Oh, and one of the best outposts, fantastic. Got a Quiji outpost here. It's got an Amber Pip on it, and it reads action, put a friendly creature on the bottom of its owner's deck. If you do, draw 3 cards. Super, super good efficiency. One of the best turn 1 plays you can get. Then we've got the Jezrai Blacksmith, 4 power creature with elusive, and at the start of each player's turn, that player chooses to either make a token creature or draw a card. I would rather it have said at the end, because then you can get effect, trade out of it first. The whole deal is that typically Ekwidon, they're making deals with you, but they're always kind of weighted in their favor. So I would love if I could get a use from Blacksmith immediately. Just because I think the effect isn't anything too crazy. But at the start of turn, can make a little bit more sense, especially since it's draw a card. So I understand why it came out like this. It just, card's not super crazy. Conductor Joroya. I think I said it right somewhere in there. Sorry for my continued mispronunciation of it at the beginning. This is our 5 power rare creature that brought the buggies in. You can see them all in the background there, the huge buggies. 5 power creature. After reap, ready each friendly buggy artifact. So fantastic. You can take advantage of each of their effects twice, which would yield... if you don't kill your token creatures and you kill some other creature, then it would yield you 2 token creatures, 2 amber, because you have to lose 1, and then 2 cards, because you're discarding, but you're filtering your hand super good. The combo is super, super interesting. And like I said, I made a short talking about how you can rule of 6 him and all of the buggies pretty much every turn if you have the right setup. And the right token creature, so go check that out. This might be my first deck with Conductor Joroya, so super, super cool to see. Trader is awesome. There's some great stuff in here. There's a few cards I would like to replace, but nothing bad. This looks like a super fun deck to play, and the way it plays into itself is super, super interesting. I will be right back with the deck breakdown. Give me just one moment. Okay, and we're here now with the deck breakdown. As always, our usual piles. There's our token creature on display. Amber control, expected amber. No artifact control this deck. Creature control, and then token generating cards that didn't really serve another purpose outside of that. Fantastic. There is our SAS score, 69. The meta is a -1, that's from board clears, so selective preservation did count, but you need a little bit more than 1 of those to fit into the current meta. It's not bad. 69 SAS isn't bad. It's pretty evenly split between the houses. Ekwidon is at 26. Typically whatever deck has the token creature, or whatever pod has the token creature, is going to have the highest SAS, so that only makes sense. Mars is 24, Star Alliance is 21, for a grand total of 69. We'll bring up our extras and counts now. We have got 13 in our bonus amber. Not bad. Definitely want more. As per usual, I love to see an 18 there, but our expected amber is decent, and I've definitely seen worse bonus amber counts. Actions, we have 13 actions, which is about average. We've got 15 creatures, which is a bit below average. I think I would like to see a little bit more in Mars, even though that's probably where we got a bunch of creatures. I'm sure Equidon is taking away from that just because we got the buggies, so that takes up 3 whole spots that could have been creatures. And then in the artifacts, of course, we have 5 artifacts: the Equigi Outpost, the Comm Pod, and then our 3 buggies. In upgrades, we've got Iron X Propaganda, Echo Reflector, and Uplink for 3. As far as artifacts go, that is above average, and as far as upgrades go, also above average. So those were pulled from our creature count effectively. We've got 1 board wipe. Only archiving card is Scoop Up, so it's creature control. It is not exactly, the archive that breeds efficiency. And then token generation is actually pretty good. Token generation is sitting at a 16. Love to see a high token generation score for stuff like Trader, just because with Trader in the deck, Amber Control is actively just baked into it. So the more traders we can make, the more likely it is that we will have traders remaining when we get to our Equidon turn. The more likely we can just straight up steal some Amber. So very, very good. Wish we had some ways to ward those, but nothing in this deck, unfortunately. Clear those away. Here's our Amber and Control section. Our Amber Control itself is 14, 18 in expected Amber, which is enough for 3 keys. Is that right? Yeah. 3 keys with 1 play through the deck, so as long as our opponent doesn't mess with us, which they will, because that's just how it works. But if we can pop off on our traders a bit, I think that number will shoot up, and 1 pass through the deck can technically forge all of our keys. No artifact control, you already knew that, and then creature control is a 7.5. That is not very high, but that's okay. It seems to be the standard with a lot of decks like this. I think creature control, while being incredibly important, is just naturally becoming less and less apparent, at least in my own experience. I'm seeing a lot less creature control in the decks, and I don't know if maybe it's the same amount of creature control that it's always been. It's just creature control is more necessary now, or what exactly is going on with it. But 7.5 is not nearly enough. Let's dig into these, see where those points came from. So this is our Amber Control. Got Xeno Training, some good capture. Something I noticed about this deck is that it does a lot of manipulation of the Amber. Capturing is big, but the best way to pay out from this capturing is increased key cost, which we'll see some cards from here. Our double Brain Dart for the basically stolen Amber. Trading Frenzy for capture. Echo Reflector, so there's one of our big key cost increasing cards. What we kind of want to do is hold on to our opponent's Amber until we can see our Echo Reflector or our Mix Tall-Minded? Yeah, Mix the Tall-Minded. If we can see both of those, that would be awesome, because we want them to either be sitting at a high Amber cost and not be able to forge, and then we steal with our traders, or we want them to forge at a really, really high price, so the rest of their Amber that they worked for kind of disappears. So Echo Reflector is good. Rogue Operations for a possible 2 stolen Amber. Phenomenal card, especially with both of our grunt works. We'll be able to get this to go off pretty often, I feel. And then 2 Mix the Tall Minds, doubling their effect. Super, super good. A lot of this, again, is just playing around with the cost of the keys. If we can steal Amber while they're unable to forge, and then make them forge for a high cost, that would be obviously the ideal scenario. Then we've got our expected Amber here. Again, a lot of it's going to be in our bonus Amber, but outside of that, we got some pretty decent cards in here. CXO Tabor, which will result in additional Amber. Just 1 from reaping to produce its effect is going to be decent at creating Amber, and you want to reap with them. But if we can play cards with bonus pips, we get those. Or we can use non-Star Alliance cards out of the turn, typically to reap, or if we need to fight, we can. So obviously that's why CXO Tabor is pretty low on the list, but very, very good nonetheless. Shigzaiso Buggy. Shigzaiso Buggy exists in here fighting against one of the other buggies. That makes you lose 1 Amber, but its effectively, without looking at the whole of the effectively, without looking at the whole of the combo, is just to gain you 2 Amber. You pay a cost to gain 2. Then we got Xanthix Harvester here, which just reaps for an additional Amber. and Compod, which will let us actually probably use our Xanthix Harvester pretty often. We want to get our artifacts out early. Obviously, you typically want to get your artifacts out early, but if we can get Compod and a Quiji Outpost out early in the game, it'll really, really change up our game plan and make some really, really good stuff. Compod's obviously in here because readying Mars creatures, almost all of the time I'm going to reap with those creatures, except for maybe Zizok, but like the Tall-Mindeds and Harvester, I absolutely want to reap with those. Going into creature control, 2 belligerent guards, phenomenal creature control. They're not rated particularly high, and your opponent drawing a card is a pretty big negative, but one that you don't actively kind of see. Like, you don't know what that card is or how it fully impacts the game. So thinking about it too hard can cause you a lot of problems, especially if you have a really good deck with belligerent guard. It's a reap out the gate at its worst. At its best, you're taking out a very high value target from your opponent. 8 power is nothing to scoff at, and I've just had so many scenarios where the board is almost completely locked up and a belligerent guard is exactly what I needed to kind of break me out of it. Granted, it's not going to wipe the board, so if you're dealing with a bunch of targets, you know, it won't set you free, but belligerent guard has done me great things. Zizok, I already talked about earlier with the, if you're lucky, can effectively perform its own board wipe. Skirmish is great, and with Compod, we'll be able to start firing Zizok right away, so not bad. Weaponsmith is in here because the 2 damage pip it enhanced. Scoop Up for archiving opponent creatures, again for great specific targeted removal. Same with Forced Retirement. Forced Retirement is also great in this deck because if we already have a trader in play, then we can destroy an opponent's creature, steal that amber. So if that amber was going to put them into check, or they had no amber, and then we gave them one, it is easy to steal to produce an amber. And then Selective Preservation is our only board wipe. Again, very specific scenario, but one that I think we can achieve. We have a pretty high spread of powers here with Belligerent Guard. I mean, a bunch of 4 power, 5 power, 1 power, 8 power, 3 power creatures. We've got them all. So I think it'll be good. Having 2 Tall-Mindeds actually works against us a little bit in this instance. But I think, honestly, that's fine. We'll run into that scenario in very specific situations. And sometimes it might be good to lower that key cost back down just to force the opponent to forge if we feel that they're going to have an answer to both of them in one turn. So then it is our token generation. This is real simple. We've got Uplink here, which, again, Uplink is okay. There's a scenario in which Uplink is particularly good I'm trying to think of, but I think it's really just applying it to a Deplore Star Alliance creature. CR Officer Hawkins or either Collector Boren is pretty good for Uplink, even though it doesn't go next to it. If you can just have a creature... Yeah, Collector Boren, I think, is the one I'm thinking of, just because since this is making token creatures, you know, if you can place it next to non-Collector Boren target, you can produce another token right next to Collector Boren just with the ready effect. 2 Gruntworks, again, any form of deck manipulation, looking at the top 3 cards of your deck, rearranging them, you know, being able to pick the worst card of the 3 and turning it into a token, or in the scenario where I'm playing a Rogue Operations, I pick the best card, I put it into play, I discard the other 2, and then I can Quiji Outpost the best card to the bottom of my deck, or something on a later turn, or if I'm just about to cycle, discard the best card. And so there's just so much that you can do by manipulating the top of your deck in general, and Gruntwork gives you even more of that excellent Winds of Exchange flavor. Scout Chief Courtier. I always think it's funny when you get draw pips on token creation cards, just because you have to sequence it. So I would draw first, and then I would make a token. So sometimes that'll create scenarios where I'm like, man, I wish these 2 cards were flipped, but you don't really have any control over it, so there's no hard feelings when you play it. But very, very good token generation from this guy. Ironix Propaganda is a good upgrade. Again, love attaching that to the 2 Vat Minders here. General Zorha, which 4 power skirmish isn't bad. I think it just feels weird because it's for each key your opponent has, make a token creature. So the best payout is if your opponent is 2 keys deep into the game, you can get 2 token creatures. But honestly, very few token creatures are really going to make a huge difference at this stage, especially in Equidon. It's an interesting effect, but it doesn't amount to a whole lot. He certainly doesn't change up the game for people. And then, of course, our buggy here, which is reveal 2 cards from your hand. If they share a house, discard them and then make a token creature. Important part of that combo. And then Jazrahi. I don't know if I'll ever say that right. Blacksmith, Jazrai. It's an okay card. I feel like I've talked at length about this card throughout this display, so I won't dive back into it, especially since I talked about it earlier, but Blacksmith can be okay. It can also be very bad, especially outside of Winds of Exchange. It's just your opponent's only going to draw. They're not going to make a token creature, and drawing a card can get pretty out of hand. Invisible Hand, speaking of hands, phenomenal. Visible Hand is really, really good. Making 2 token creatures, revealing your hand will almost never matter, especially with like a Quiji Outpost and certain things. If I'm able to sculpt out my hand so that it's all Ekwidon cards, then I'm like, hey, here's the 5 cards that I'm going to play this turn. So I'm going to reveal them to you, but I'm also just going to play them. So you don't really actually gain any knowledge. Fits into the theme of, the Ekwidon not trading very fairly. It's very, very cool. Okay, so we've got one last section here. We'll get this token creature out of the way. And there is our speed and board. So 12 speed, that's actually pretty awesome. We've got a Quiji Outpost doing that. Then one of the buggies has us draw cards. Camaraderie is in here. Camaraderie, I mean, it's fine. It's just so hard to pull off. I have a hard time really cheering for it. And then of course we have Weaponsmith, what's enhance, the Shizuoku buggy. How does that provide efficiency? Oh, making a token creature, I guess, discarding 2 cards. Weird. I don't know why that's in our efficiency here in our speed. Blacksmith, of course, making token creatures and or drawing cards, and then Grunt Work with the kind of filtering. Then our effective power. At the tippity top, we've got Belligerent Guard, and we've got a couple things putting us in the negative. That is Selective Preservation, a Quiji Outpost in Shigzaiso Buggy, all -5, because they kill our own creatures. Or remove them from play. Recursion, the only thing is the Quiji Outpost putting something on the bottom of our deck. Only creature protection is Secure Droid, which I feel we were all expecting. Our disruption is negative, so Scoop Up disrupts our opponent, but both of our Belligerent Guards and our Blacksmith actively work in our opponent's favor, so we've got a -2.3. One play through this deck and our opponent will have benefited some. And then no other effects affecting our board. And clear that away. So fantastic. That was a super interesting deck, super fun to play. I'm glad towards the end here we're getting some really intriguing stuff. Super happy to see any of those rare special cards like Conductor Jiroya. And Trader is growing on me more and more, especially since my double Nearbor Flamewing deck has Trader. There's so much value that you can really get out of it. Stealing is just super good, and I feel like Trader is super well balanced. The highest aspect of this deck was definitely the Amber Control and efficiency. So if you can really get stuff going, I think you can kind of lock down a game, and then those effects can make up for the lack of maybe the creature control and other things, especially if I can get all the artifacts out. So got to play a very fast, very quick game. Definitely want a Quiji Outpost and Compot out early. But super cool. I'm super excited to play it. We've got one deck left as we head into January. I'm happy to see you guys in the new year. I haven't said it yet, but I hope you guys had great holidays, whatever you celebrate. I had a splendid time. I'm getting over an illness, so my voice might sound a little weird in this video. Sorry about that. But I'm excited for what's to come in the new year. I don't think I will get my Grim Reminder stuff in time to jump straight into that. So I will be organizing my Keyforge collection here soon, and you will probably get a deck review video or two, and I'm going to come up with some other ideas that I can maybe start working on in the meantime. So you should still get bi-weekly uploads. Don't worry about that. If that changes at all for whatever reason, I will make a community post and post on all my socials. But I'm going to do my best not to. I've gone almost a full year with posting every 2 weeks, so it would feel pretty bad to break that streak. But I hope you guys have fantastic holidays. I hope your New Year's is amazing, and yeah, just have a great celebration, reflecting on all that's happened this year. And Keyforge is back, baby. We'll be getting OP in the next year, getting some more tournaments swinging. I'm excited to go out to Worlds next year. So there's so much to reflect on and to celebrate. Thank you guys for sticking around. Thank you if you made it this far into the video. And remember, the most important part of Keyforge is the person sitting across the table. Have a good one.